Hey everyone, Samba here. This evening I am going to stream a sneak peek of Cathay, which is a new nation which will be in the next version of the mod, and the next version of the mod should be coming out this weekend, so in the next couple of days. Yeah, but I thought I would just stream a playtest game that I've got a Cathay in progress and just show off some of the stuff they have. I'm not really going to be playing very seriously, but I will. I'm not going to be doing like a national overview or anything, but I can just show off some of the bits and pieces they have. So just going to go into that game, and we will see. So I've got a bunch of messages, but I'll just start by showing you the national overview screen. Hop on over. As you can see, Cathay is basically completely ready to go. It's got its commanders, its units. It's got a bunch of spells, which I'll show you. Sites and everything. It's got a couple of mechanics it uses. Bastions and Imperial Harmony is the name of the two different unique mechanics that Cathay has. It's got a nice flag. It's got all the stuff you'd expect. It's got one national hero, which is this guy, the Immortal Iron Dragon. So he's Zhao Ming, and Zhao Ming is in the Warhammer Total War game as well. Warhammer Total War 3 has got Cathay in it. I've used some of the ideas that they had in that. Usually I don't really pay any attention to Warhammer Total War when making the mod, but I did a little bit for Cathay because Cathay didn't have that much information. Well, I had barely anything written about it previously in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which is my main source of stuff, is those books. But I haven't done exactly the same things as they did in Warhammer Total War. So things are a little different in my Cathay. But there's definitely some similarities. You can see some things that are basically the same, like the fire rain wagon. There's fire rain artillery in Warhammer Total War. There's the Jade Warriors, Jade Pikemen, and things like that. There's some Sky Lanterns, but Sky Lanterns are much bigger vehicle things in Warhammer Total War, and here they're just individual soldiers that fly to battle and then dismount and fight on foot in battles. So a bunch of stuff that's similar, a bunch of things that are different. Yeah, so I've been playtesting this in single player, and just spreading out, and it's kind of in the expansion phase at the moment. So I can just show you things as I go along, perhaps, and if anyone's got some questions and turns up in the chat, then they can let me know if there's particular stuff they want me to look at. But yeah, let's go back to the messages. So we've been searching for magic sites. Our god has just woken up, Tianlong. Tianlong, I think, means heavenly dragon in Chinese. Pretty sure that's what Tianlong means. But yeah, he is my pretender. He is the celestial general. He used to be called General of the East, I think. And he's just got 4 air, 4 earth, 4 astral. This is a basic dude that I took, and I took him so that I could have the bless of reinvigoration, affliction, resistance, and awareness, which goes okay on my sacred. It's not particularly exciting. I try not to take blesses that are too crazy when I'm just playtesting stuff in single player, because I try to use a bit of everything. I don't just want to use my sacreds. Here's the sacred that they have. It's the Iron Body Monk. He's got a lot of stuff going for him. He's got built-in pretty decent protection. He doesn't wear any armor, but he's got a natural protection from his iron body technique. He's got great stats. He's got the quarterstaff, which is actually a fairly decent weapon when you're strong and have good built-in defense skill. You end up with defense skill 16 without any shield, which is very high. And then, of course, with the Bless, he has a bit of unsurroundable as well. He's got recuperation built in, which makes the affliction resistance not very interesting, to be honest. I just picked that without thinking about it. He's got poison resistance and susceptible to shock. But poison resistance is kind of useful, particularly because Cathay does have a weapon that does poison damage. They have these repeater crossbows that do very low damage, but if they do manage to damage, they do weak poison, and they do fire 2 shots per round. So they've got these short-range repeating crossbows. Oh, we've got someone in the chat. Ian Crowley. Don't know much about this kind of Warhammer, but it is nice to catch a stream, and the mod is really impressive. Thanks. I'm glad you've given it a try and enjoying it. It was a lot of work over many years, and I've taken a lot of care of it. It's been a fun thing to make. And Cathay were a fun nation to add to it as well. They were I'd kind of already added all of the major nations that people would expect in a Warhammer mod. I think the last one I did was Tzeentch. It'd been a long time coming. So then after that, I was like, oh, well, I'm probably done adding new nations. I'm just going to do new content. And then I forget what it was that made me just go, I'll just quickly do Cathay. And then it ended up and almost ready to go for a while. It just took me the last few weeks. I think it's the last month and a half or something. I've been very busy and I've done very little. I've just added like one or two things to them to get them finally ready and done a little bit of playtesting. Yeah, let me go back to my messages. So we've got our guys out site searching. I've got a couple of battles to show you. So we've got a battle in the Nethermines. So this is me invading down in the caverns, and I'll just show you some of the troops that are involved in this. So we've got quite a few different guys. We've got Terracotta Swordsmen. Cathay specializes in summoning these guys up, and when they get their bastions, which I will show you, they automatically generate some of these guys. They're not mindless. They're morale 30, so kind of as brave as you can be, but they're not mindless automatons. They have a kind of basic intelligence, and it means that you can kind of mix them in with the other stuff that you've got. One of the cool things about terracotta soldiers, they don't have very good protection, so they do tend to die fairly quickly, but a very cool thing about them is they have fire resistance 10, which matters quite a bit for Cathay because you have many sources of ranged fire damage that are quite inaccurate, and I will show you some of those. We've also got Jade Swordsmen, just your kind of basic medium infantry. They've got good stats, they're somewhat expensive. Celestial Guard are your elite infantry, really nice stats. A nice weapon, the Cathayan longsword. It's very similar to the katana, but it's one-handed, so kind of very fancy, high resource cost sword. We've got some Tortoise Warriors who have Formation Fighter and better protection than some of the others, although Cathay doesn't really do very heavy armor. It's because they basically use scale mail rather than chain mail or plate mail. But they've got scale tower shields, which are magical tower shields and are very good, and they're pretty useful on them. And they've also got an interesting thing, the blunt pole arms, a length 3 blunt weapon, which you don't see very often. And a bit of castle defense bonus and reinvigoration, so even though they've got quite heavy stuff on, they don't get tired as fast as other things. And then we've got Iron Body Monks, which you've already seen. We've got some Jade Pikemen. We've got some Peasant Spearmen who have got length 4 spears and are pretty cheap and not too terrible, to be honest. They just have bad protection. That's the main issue with them. And obviously, their stats are not very good. We've got a bunch of Jade Crossbowmen. And then we've got some Eastern Man-Eaters, Ogre Mercenaries. Very good stats, very expensive, don't require recruitment points, very few resource is required as well. They basically just cost gold. You can get a limited number of those. And I tend to use those as kind of bodyguards for my commanders. I quite like them for that job. You can see we've also got a terracotta horseman out here. So let's just let this roll. I'm up against a bunch of underground turkeys, I always call them. Agarthans, the pale ones. Nice sound coming not through my headset. That's a bit weird. Let me fix that. So we're just going to beat them up, even though we've got bad stats here because of the... well, they're still not bad, are they? Defense 15, even though they're in the dark. Yeah, even though we don't have the best stats at the moment because we're in the dark, we're more than a match for a bunch of Garthans. Let's get turn my volume down a bit. An easy win there. A couple of Iron Body Monks lost. They do cost 30 gold each, so that's not nothing. It's a Peasant Spearman, which really is nothing. Peasant Spearmen are only 6 gold each. Battle in the Windswept Desert. So here we've got slightly different composition. We've got a bunch of these repeater crossbowmen with their poison repeater crossbows. Very low damage, but if they do damage, do weak poison, and they shoot a lot of projectiles. The best comparison point for them is like poison shortbow archers from like Machaca. So we've got a bunch of them, and our enemy here does not have good protection because they are bone tribe hunters. So they're actually the kind of thing that the repeater crossbows can feast on quite nicely. And of course, if they accidentally hit the monks, the poison's not going to do anything because the monks have poison resistance 5, which is enough to avoid being poisoned basically by weak poison. You can see the repeater crossbows are getting in some good hits, doing some poison. He's doomed. And then the monks should fairly easily deal with beast hunters. Let's just boost this along. And you can see I've got a bunch of tortoise warriors too. Is there something not quite right in their sprite? It almost looks like it's upturned at the end there. I don't think it is, but it looks like a hockey stick. Yeah, also we've got in the chat, we've got Joe Smith. He's excited for Cathay, the mod's so great. How do you think about what magic access a nation should get? It seems a deep and tricky thing to balance and think about. You know what? I'm going to give you the dummy answer here, which is I don't overthink it. What I basically do in terms of magic access is I look at what I think thematically would make sense for a nation kind of converting the vibes for the most part, rather than thinking about the individual spells that magic users in that Warhammer nation would have, and then what paths they would have in Dominions. And then I try not to go too crazy broad, although some of my nations do have very broad access. They tend to, if they have very broad access, they tend to have some more difficulties with their troops and things. That tends to be how Dominions works. If you have really great mages with very broad magical access, your troops tend to be a bit less good or a bit less crazy, like not giants and monsters and things. And then, yeah, just give them the, based on my experience with what mages tend to be roughly reasonable in Dominions, I just put those mages in and see how it goes. And some people would definitely say that the mod is not very balanced. I would say of Dominions, it has its own way of balancing things, which is that it's largely a multiplayer game and kind of self-balances by nations if they are a bit stronger than other nations. That being okay in a multiplayer game, and them kind of getting recognised to be a bit stronger when they start to take over more terrain or go ahead in research or whatever. So I just generally don't worry about it too much. I mean, I do think about it, but I don't overthink it, is I guess what I'm going for. So, monthly Cathay mechanics explainer. Let me show you that. So all of the Warhammer nations, if they have special mechanics, get a message every month, which just reminds you of what their special mechanics are. Cathay's got two. The first is Imperial Harmony. Basically, each turn Cathay controls a province, and there's not very much unrest there. I think it's below like around 10, something like that. Then it gets a site of Imperial Harmony, and the sites increase over 5 tiers. So they start off with tier 1, go all the way up to tier 5, and then it stops getting any better. Each of them provides more in gold and resources than the previous. The order is nascent, emerging, basic, established, and true Imperial Harmony. And once it reaches tier 5, it will no longer upgrade. If you lose that province to another nation or to the Indies from them attacking you from an event, the Imperial Harmony shattered and the Harmony site's removed. If you retake it, you can build it back up again. So basically, it's a mechanic that rewards you for keeping hold of provinces. Don't let them get raided. Keep the unrest there low long enough to build up the Imperial Harmony, and you will get extra golden resources in every single province that you manage to do that for. It's not a lot of extra golden resources. I'll show you some of those, and then we'll come back to the message. So we've got true Imperial Harmony here. An extra 20 province income, which is pretty decent, and an extra 20 resources. And I think those, of course, you'd need a fort to fully take advantage of the extra resources. You can see some of these other places. I've got like Amiradon. Its unrest has not been low enough so far. It will be low enough this turn to get some Imperial Harmony going. We've got True Imperial Harmony here as well. True Imperial Harmony here as well. Those are places we've owned for a while. We've got established Imperial Harmony there. Province income 12, 10 resources. True, established, true. We got, yeah, nascent Imperial Harmony. You don't get anything because that's only just started. Basic Imperial Harmony, I think you get a little bit. Yeah, 8 income, 5 resources. So you can see the longer you've controlled something, with the unrest being somewhat low, like there, the unrest is still too high for it to get Imperial Harmony's chain started, but it will start it. And here it has managed to start it. So each turn that'll upgrade as long as the unrest is not above 10. I think it's around 10. There's kind of a random factor in it as well. So that's one of their mechanics. The other one is that they have bastions. So if you control a land province, you get a fort there. You fully control the province and the fort. And you have around 40 or more province defense. And again, there's some randomness in this. So I think this can trigger at, it's like plus minus 20%, 25%. So I think something like You can probably trigger it with like 34 province defense in theory, but it's easier to trigger it with 40 province defense, that's for sure. So a bastion site will appear. The site gives you extra wall crossbowmen in case you're ever subject to a fort storming. Allows the recruitment of tortoise warriors, which I've already showed you. They're the guys with the formation fighter and the big tower shields. And you get 4 terracotta infantry and 1 terracotta horseman automatically each turn. If you lose control of the fort, the bastion's destroyed. The opponent doesn't get hold of it. So bastions basically make your forts harder to take, and you get some free terracotta guys. And you can see in my troops here, this is what I've been getting each turn is 2 of these terracotta pikemen, 2 of these terracotta swordsmen, and then 1 terracotta horseman. So if you have a network of a bunch of forts, it's a decent extra income of free troops. It's nothing that crazy. Yeah, decent income of extra guys. Anything else in the chat? Kidsin says monks asserting a pose of dominance. Let's have a look at their pose. Are they looking dominant? They've certainly got a broad stance. They're kind of doing a big weighty crotch stance. Have we got any lying around? Well, let's look on the recruit screen. There they are. Yeah, they're doing kind of a BDE stance, I would call it. And yeah, they've got a nice little attack animation as well, where they whip their staff out and smack people in the head on one leg. Anything else in the chat? Dr. Quacksalver. In single player, balance is just not that important. I agree. I think more important for having a kind of internal balance to the nations, I would say, is important in single player, so that if people want to use a particular type of troop, or they want to use a broad variety of troops, they don't go, I feel bad whenever I use this troop because it's just kind of rubbish and I can't have as much fun with it because I feel like I should be making this much better troop. So I try to get a kind of internal balance for that. As long as you're roughly in the same order of magnitude, it just makes it more interesting. Too strong can get boring. Yep, and I think the Chaos Nations probably need a few more tweaks around that because I feel like they can be a bit like one note and less interesting just because the Chaos Warriors and Chaos Chosen are so strong. So maybe some tweaks there in the future. We'll see. What was I doing? I was going to take my turn, I believe. So Tianlong, I'll just have you research for now. I'm not paying too much attention to what I'm really doing here, but let's gather up some peasants. So these are peasant rocketeers. You might get excited going, oh, a rocket, and you go, oh, a crude rocket, cool. It hits and it does fire damage, that's nice. They only get to fire 1 shot. It's really inaccurate, and it's not a huge amount of damage. They're very cheap, though. Peasant rocketeers are a mere 8 gold, and you get to fire a rocket, which has, range 50, so can hit all over the place. So there's something you might take. You get 1 big round of rockets at the start. It might hit some of the enemy mages, who knows? And then they just act as normal peasant spearmen. They've got their half pike, so they often just die in combat, just trundle along and die. You will notice that all of the peasants, much like Bretonia, are slaves. That means they have half gold upkeep. So gold 6 is actually gold 3 in terms of upkeep. So peasants, very, very cheap in terms of upkeep. Very, very cheap. Don't know what this commander was doing, but I'm going to send him back home to pick a bunch of stuff up. And we do have a bunch of stuff here for Mu King. So Mu King is going to have command of a very strong and crazy unit, the Fire Rain Wagoneer. It's very expensive. Its recruitment cost is 250 gold, 136 resources. You can only have 1 a month, 95 recruitment points, and I believe it's capital only. Am I correct about that? No, you can get it from any fort. I was wrong. I might restrict some more things to capital only, I'm not sure. That's the kind of thing that I tend to do in a patch subsequently after people say, oh, I just built this in every single fort, and I go, maybe I'd better restrict that a little bit. But yeah, good old Mu King, he's got 3 of these guys now. They fire, is it 9? That's 8. 8 Fire Rain rockets. Each Fire Rain rocket fires 1 every 3 rounds. So every 3 rounds, basically, they fire 8 of these projectiles. They have huge range. They're very inaccurate. Where they land, you get an explosion area effect 2 of 13 armor-piercing fire damage. And the rocket itself does 14 damage as well. Which is, can do some extra damage. Basically, you completely saturate the enemy field. If you've got a bunch of these, they just completely cover the enemy field in these fire rockets. And if they fire at close range, which they often end up doing, they can be really devastating to stuff too. They can just absolutely blast things. But they kill a lot of your own troops because of that fire damage. So I definitely would consider with this nation using things that have fire resistance, like terracotta swordsmen and so on, using things that are expendable, like peasants, kind of like the Skaven do. Or maybe get a bless to add fire resistance to your monks. That's something else you could do. So, I think I'm going to have those on. Hold on a sec, Rhea. I will make sure that I use these. I'll go and do that right now. I don't really care about what else is going on in this, but I will show you the fire rain wagon is firing off. You have another fire ranged weapon in addition to your peasants firing their crude rockets. You also have Sky Lantern soldiers. So Sky Lantern soldiers, they only use the balloon outside of combat. They use it so they get really pretty decent map move, and they have flying and good patrol bonus. So that's all their outside of combat stuff. In combat, it's just the grounded version. Same weapons though. Has the torch shot, which is very low damage fire, but it's area effective one. So against not very armored things, very useful to have 5 armor piercing area effect 1 ranged fire shots from them, and they can fire those every single turn, and they can fire those 10 times. They've got 10 ammunition, so it's pretty decent and decent range too. Against very heavily armored stuff, completely fails because 5 armor piercing damage just isn't that exciting against very heavily armored stuff. But against medium stuff and light stuff, very, very nasty indeed. And they're not that expensive, Sky Lantern soldiers, and of course you can fly them out of your forts to arrive in various different places. They also have the Torch Spear, which is basically a normal spear that's two-handed, but it also does the Torch Flame, which is area effect 1. So they have an area effect 1 attack in close combat as well. How much do they cost to recruit? I think they are, not the captain, yeah, 20 gold each. So 20 gold, maybe they're undercosted at the moment, not sure. Their stats aren't great, their armor isn't great, but those area effects attacks are very nice, especially against like cavalry where you hit the horse and the rider, and the horse doesn't tend to have particularly good armor to stop you. You can get a captain to lead them. He flies. You've also got a flying commander here in the Dragonblood Lord as well, who I'll get to in a moment. Anyway, this army, I definitely want to go off and attack something. I'll probably attack Redbone Grove, just to show you that to you. But he is going to have some of these boys, and he's going to have a front line, which consists of monks, tortoise warriors, terracotta warriors. I'll give him a couple of bodyguards, and then he's also got a bunch of crossbows, and I think I can safely put them in with the Sky Lanterns and to have them on hold and fire closest. Let's just get these in some semblance of order. Hold and attack rear. You can go on hold and attack closest. Yeah, fine. And then our fire wagons can go there. Shoot the enemy archers at the back. So I'll send this force off to Redbud Grove, and I'll probably skip ahead a bit just so I can show them to you. Yeah, so let's skip ahead and get that battle from them so I can show you the rockets flying around. I think that's what people want to see. Kidzin says, I think Marauders are really strong, especially for Tzeentch and Nurgle. Yeah, I agree. Even if you're not really going in on the heavy bless, the Marauders are actually still really good, and people use them in expansion quite a lot. Kidzin says that is a crazy unit. Presumably talking about the Fire Rain rockets, could be talking about the Sky Lanterns, not sure. I guess we'll see what people think are crazy. Definitely quite likely. Oh, Ulfan's doing some fighting over there. That's pretty clean, isn't it? Let's have a look at that. Wow. It's a pretty nasty little stack, isn't it? A bunch of ranged. You can see that the ranged firepower they've got is pretty crazy, actually. Anyway. Nothing that interesting there. So I'm going to grab this army, send them in on these guys. And before I go showing you those rockets flying around, I'll just quickly go through the mages that Cathay has. So, you have got a herbalist who is a disease healer who has one nature. They're not very good researchers, but they're cheap. You have got an imperial alchemist. They have alchemist. Hooray! They have one fire, one water, one earth, the classic alchemy paths. They are cheap. Considering their research, very cheap. So, a good researcher, and you will notice I've got 3 commander points because Cathay starts with a Great Walled City, being a very populous nation with a very capital-centric state of mind. So, Imperial Alchemists you'll be recruiting as researchers and using them for various things, site searching and stuff. I get a lot of Imperial Alchemists, very useful. Then Elementalists. So each of the Elementalists has got Farcaster in its particular element, and they have a guaranteed 2 in their element. So you've got fire, water, air, and earth. It's very nice to have that guaranteed 2 path in each of those, and they're very good at being what they are. That path boost is nothing to be sniffed at. Oh, not path boost, that range boost. Then you have the Imperial Astromancer. This is not capital only, but it is 4 CP, although of course you have 3 commander points, you can get them quicker than you usually would. They are old, they are fortune tellers, they have 3 astral and they have 1 air, and Cathay comes with a special version of Gifts of Heaven that they can cast, even though their paths wouldn't normally be right for Gifts of Heaven. But yeah, you are an astral power because you've got astral 3 mages that you can get whenever you like. Then you have the Dragon Blood Lord. Dragon Blood Lords are expensive, 6 commander points, 500 gold, but they are badasses. They have a flying mount, the Longma, that just rides around on the air. It's good, it has lots of nice stats and things, pretty useful. Decent armor too. The Dragonblood Lord themselves is a kind of semi-supernatural, barely immortal, so they've got lots of really good stats, hit points and things. They are sacred, but they are not priests, so you will need a priest to bless them. And this is one of Cathay's weaknesses, it's not good at priests. But they've got Fire 1, Air 1, Water 1, Earth 1, and then they've got a 100% random in each of the elements. So, then that's twice. So they can get to 3 in any of these, although it's difficult. It's a 1 in 16 chance of getting to 3 in any given one. So they're you're going to want to get quite a few of them because you want to get those 3 paths, like, 3 water and so on, or 3 air. You can't get those from your normal mages, and they're just really useful. Obviously, these paths are incredibly good. Like, as a spread for buffing, you're going to have amazing paths. They are incredible, kind of super combatant level guys. They might even be undercosted at 500 gold. We'll find out. They have combat caster and, very good stats and so on. They're not like giants or anything though. 33 hit points is not crazy. But they're also really, really good leaders. But yeah, they need somebody to bless them, and your only priest is the Monk Abbot. They are cheap. They are only 1 recruitment point. And they're pretty good because they've got the iron body technique and so on. And a crazy high defense skill. They're obsessed with defense rather than attack, you can see. Very switched around. You still don't want to leave them somewhere vulnerable, but maybe somebody could do some kind of weird thugging technique with these guys, because of their high protection, as soon as you put body armor on them, they've got crazy high protection. So that's actually something maybe I should stop them having body armor put on them. I don't know. We'll just let people have a try with that and see what they think. Recuperation as well. And unsurroundable, because they are super martial artists. I think they should probably be old. Are they not old? Where do you see age? 147. Oh, they're about to be old, yeah. So some of them are old, I think, based on random rolls. But yeah, that's your only guy, and he's a holy one. That's what you get for priests. I might make him cost a little bit more as well. I think 60 gold might be, considering how good he is and things he can do. I mean, I'll consider that. There's some potential for them to be turned into some kind of irritating budget thug. Dr. Kratsav asked, do you have a flying leader to lead the balloon men? Yes, you've got a flying captain for the balloon men, the Sky Lantern captain, and the Dragon Bloods are riding a flying horse as well, so they can also lead them if they want to. Joe Smith, so they have quite limited access to communions. Yes, they've only got their slow to recruit for CP guys for doing communions, and they don't have the path set up to do the communion items, and they don't have blood. And yeah, Flask of Holy Water you definitely might want to be doing for your Dragon Bloods to make them blessed. Right, so let's watch this. I think it's Redbud Grove, yes. So let's watch our crazy fireworks display here. So we've got lots of Sky Lantern troops. You can see that they've now landed. They don't have their fancy balloons when they're in combat. And we've also got 3 of these big boys with their Armadoxes. The Armadox itself, pretty tough. High protection, high hit points. So let's watch what happens. Ooh! You wouldn't want to see that coming at you. So strips away maybe a third of the archers in the first volley. Second volley is going to be at a shorter range, so it's going to be nastier, although it may hit my own troops. They are pretty crazy and accurate. Here comes the Sky Lantern shots, and they're pretty good against guys like this. They don't have the protection to stand up to Sky Lantern shots. There's the next volley. Oof. Pretty sure I lost some guys to that. And they are routed. So I think I haven't used the Sky Lanterns much, but just looking at what they're doing, the fact that they've got area effect 1 on that torch shot, and they've got it in combat, they may be undercosted at 20 gold each, because you could build a big old army of those, and it's just a lot of area effect hits, which gets around, shields and things like that. It still is just fire, not too hard to counter. Ooh, running away downhill. But yeah, especially with the terracotta guys, maybe I could put their resource cost up. Let's have a look at what they've got. 17 resources, 14 recruitment points, 20 gold. I think maybe put the resource cost up because you need to expend the resources on building their lantern as well. Let me go do that now. Sky Lantern soldiers. Resource cost. I'm just going to put it up by an extra 4 for now, and we'll see. I don't like to go too wild on just boosting the cost of things up too much. And the Monk Abbot I said I was going to have a look at. I think what I'm going to do with the Monk Abbot is not allow them to wear armor. So we're going to go over to the item slots and sorry to do this live, but I feel like it's worth doing. We're going to let them have 2 hands. They can fire a bow. Head slot. Yep, they can have a head slot. Foot, 2 misc. No body slot. There we go. Yeah, so they will not be doing anything fancy with having a black steel plate stuck on them to go with their very high natural protection. But you could do something with some other items. Any other questions in the chat? Oh, a bunch of them. Yoram van der Mage, I think that's how you pronounce that. If he's the only priest that only costs 60 gold with those stats, might get crazy. Would like some wind guide on the rocket artillery? Absolutely, that would help them. 20 gold seems fine. They're quite a weak chassis besides the nice ranged attack. Yeah, we'll see how they go. I think the fact that you can recruit them, you can recruit a Sky Lantern captain and Sky Lantern soldiers, and they are really good against, like, if I buy a whole bunch of these, we'll just give a demonstration of what just a big army of them does. Let's just skip that 10. I've got to keep an eye on this events business. People have said that sometimes that's taking too long with the mod, and it's going to be difficult to work out how to make that more efficient, but it's possible. The guy's auto-searching some stuff. So if I just take this force that I just threw together, we'll go hold fire closest, put him in with the rest of them. Now, they don't have crazy map move because they are just drifting along in their balloons being pushed by their torch spears. So they're not like, Calum where they can fly like absolutely miles away, but they can go to the edge of your territory and hop over enemy provinces. I mean, that's something they can definitely do. I mean, you can see from here he can reach. He can't reach Golam Rod, but map move 22 is still enough to reach a lot of provinces. So if we pick out, here's one, it's got 50 enemy units in it, and we'll just have a go at beating that with our guys. What's he got? 31 of them. We'll just see how that does. Because I think they're quite a strong raider for just hitting enemy province defense and knocking it over. They don't have good protection. They're vulnerable to a lot of stuff. They're vulnerable to just being shot with short bows, to be quite honest with you. But anything that has not very good protection that they can get a bunch of shots off against, they'll just kill it. 5 armor piercing. Area effect 1 is sufficient to just absolutely flatten formations of things that don't have much armor. Now, heavy infantry have enough armor that it's not just going to go straight through them, but these guys, it's going to annihilate militia. But then everything annihilates militia. That's not that exciting. Let's zip forward a bit. Right, here we go. I should maybe put a sound effect on that. I just don't want it to be like a really annoying sound effect. Yeah, that's not too crazy. This is kind of similar to the performance of like a bunch of javelins being thrown and stuff. Slightly better than that, but... So the heavy infantry should do fine in close combat against us. They should chop us up. But of course, we then do area effect damage in close combat as well. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, they're not... I wouldn't say they're overperforming there. And they in fact lost. I'm surprised. Oh, maybe not. Captain was being a hero briefly there. Well, they're a tool that's available to you. I'll put it that way. They're a tool in your arsenal, in your toolbox. Anything else I want to show off? Oh yeah, we've got some spells and things to show off. So if I go over to look at the magic. In Conjuration, we have Onyx Crowmen. You get 5 of those at level 4 Conjuration for 3 air gems. 3 air gems for 5. Already attractive sounding numbers. Let's look at what the actual Crowman is like. So we've got our summon site, will tell us. The Onyx Crowman, very hard hitting Great Falchion. Falchion, rather. Pretty good stats, terrible protection. It's the classic go and hit something very hard troop, but it's got high combat speed, so unlike a lot of flyers, he actually will attack first quite a lot of the time because he doesn't have any armor on to slow him down. So yeah, just choppers, and their morale is 30, which is very exciting. They have Spirit Sight and Dark Power as well, and they have Patrol bonus, and they're stealthy. So a bunch of things you can do with Onyx Crowmen, and you've got an Air 2 commander that you can summon them up with. So if you have the air gems to spare, you could go with them. You also have Temple Guardian beasts, high protection, pierce and slash resistant, and they can go underwater. All very nice stuff. And then they've got 2 magic attacks: Demon Rending Bite, which does hold demon, and 2 times damage versus demon, so real demon killers, and a magical claw attack. They are... How do you summon them up? They are in enchantment. Yes, they are level 5. They are 6 earth gems, and you get 2 of them. So against certain things, like against powerful demons, very obviously good for that. Very useful, and yeah, they are sacred, of course. And like they like a bless that's similar to the Iron Body Monk's bless as well, because they're again a high natural protection unit. They're sacred. You've also got in enchantment Animate, Terracotta Pikeman, Terracotta Swordsman, Terracotta Horseman. You've seen them already. 5 fire gems gets you 10. The ordinary Terracotta Army spell is disabled for this nation. They get this better version of it instead. Terracotta Swordsman, you get 9, get 1 less because the Swordsman I think is slightly better than the Pikeman because they got that shield. People may disagree about that, we'll see. But yeah, it's 10 and 9, 5 each. And the Horseman, you pay 6 fire gems and get 5 of them, so quite a bit more expensive. But Terracotta Horseman, obviously, have some advantages over the troops, like being really quick. And then you also, at enchantment level 7, get Terracotta Sentinel, and this guy really is a beast. He is 15 fire gems for a single one of them. He requires 2 fire, 2 earth, so your Dragon Bloods can do it. Your Alchemist could do it with boosters, question mark. You could empower a Earth Elemental or still Fire Elementalist in theory to do it. Most likely you're going to do it with Dragon Blood though. So yeah, Awakened Terracotta Sentinel. Let's have a look at what he is like. He is a scary boy, I will tell you in advance, and he's got a really nice sprite. Here he is, Terracotta Sentinel. Comes with fire shield, but it's very low fire shield and low heat, so he's got a little bit of a kind of damage over time heat effect going on. He's got a very, very devastating main weapon, which is his Golden Crescent Halberd. You get 2 attacks with it. It's got great stats. It does 38 damage and does slashing or pierce and is magic, so he absolutely annihilates things that he can hit with that, and he is not inaccurate with it. It has 14 attacks, so he will basically mulch 2 things each turn, just slashing them with that. He has a giant stop, which is can be negated by being strong or big and have very high defense, but it's area effect 1, so he can occasionally splat people with that. 23 damage, and then he's also got Dragonfire. It's the same fire attack that like a red dragon has, so he can absolutely burn some fools with that. Never healing, and he gets his hit points back when he has access to a lab. He is... Oh no, he doesn't, because he's not a magical guy. Is that right? He probably should be, shouldn't he? Yeah, he's not a magic being because he's supposed to obey the commands of the commanders in the same way as the other Sentinels. But I wonder if I want to take that never heals off him if that's the case, and allow him to be healed. I guess it's not a disaster that he can't be healed. You just make more of them. They have 85 hit points, 17 protection, so they are tough, and they have pierce and slash resistance. But yeah, that's something I'll have a think about. Yeah, but basically a big giant killer, very good at killing anything that he can hit, and things with very high protection or very high hit points, he just kills the hell out of them with the Golden Crescent Halberd, and obviously having access to Dragonfire for 15 fire gems, he can absolutely roast stuff with that because of his high strength. A scary, scary guy to have on your side. So that's your summons, but then you also have another spell you have in Evocation. So normally, Gifts from Heaven, it's at level 5 Evocation. It's 3 Earth, 1 Astral, and you get 3 effects. Cathay has a version of Gifts from Heaven which is 3 Astral, 1 Air, and is at level 3, 1 Celestial Gift. It's basically Gifts from Heaven, but you get... Oh, that's not supposed to be 3. I'll have to change that. That's supposed to be 1. Gift from Heaven cast, so you get 1 instead of 3. Obviously, I've made a mistake there. And then 4 Celestial Gifts, you're supposed to get 4. Now, why is that? Maybe I've got this something hard-coded that I'm not aware of. Let me go and take a look. No, I probably just forgot to put in the right values. Let me put them in now. Anyway, that'll be fixed for the next version. But yeah, so you get basically a better version of Gifts from Heaven because it's 4 instead of 3, although it is 4 Astral, 1 Air. So it's more expensive than Gifts from Heaven in raw terms. But you can go up to 4 Astral and be casting that. And you can also cast 1 Celestial Gift, which is 3 Astral, 1 Air, and you get 1 of the effects of Gifts from Heaven. So they're basically a Gifts from Heaven nation. They do have access to it, but only on these dudes, the Imperial Astromancers. We've got some other bits in chat. Sky Lantern soldiers, we're going to get soft targets. Yep. Yes, 2 attacks. The Terracotta Sentinel will destroy single targets. In one turn, it might even severely damage or kill something like a. Maybe it would even kill a greater demon, but certainly things like that, giants, big, powerful super combatants and things. It's a real threat to them, and also because it has the dragon fire breath, it's a big threat to just everything else as well. I think going against Cathay, you would want to have fire resistance quite quickly because of the amount of fire stuff they can throw at you, including the fact that they've got their longer ranged evocation casters, their fire elementalists. Yeah, and they're not mindless. None of these are mindless. They give them none of the terracotta guys are mindless. None of the summons they've got. They imbue them with a kind of basic intelligence in the enchantment. I still don't know whether I want to make that guy magic though. I'm gonna have to ponder that, or make it so he can heal, and just say yeah, he's healed by the kind of fire elemental inside him fixing bits. If I got something else I could show you, I suppose another thing they've got, which I've not really shown on this map, if I go to the national overview, is they've got some extra troops that you won't have seen. So they've got the Tortoise Warrior, which you can see in here. You get the Tortoise Warrior whenever you have a Bastion. So you've seen the Tortoise Warrior, but that's how you get him. You have to have a Bastion. Then there's 3 other orders of warriors similar to the Tortoise Warrior. The Tortoise Warrior is the kind of earth-aligned one, and then these are for the other elements. If you get a coastal fort, you can get Carp Warriors. Carp Warriors are good stats, medium infantry, well, light medium, I guess, protection 13. They are slash resistant, though, which is quite a nice thing to have, because the best damage type generally and the things with the best weapons tend to be slash. They've got a 2-handed weapon, the Trident. It's 2-handed pierce, but it's still 2-handed 20 damage, nice. And they have affliction resistance and patrol bonus. And they're only 15 gold. So Carp Warriors, kind of a nice upgrade to have available over the Jade Warriors. They're very similar to the Jade Warriors Halberdier. It's just that these guys have these extra abilities, so I would say superior. I might put more of a restriction on the different Order Warriors if they just are things that people always get instead of the Jade Warriors. Although you can recruit Jade Warriors in every province. If I look in before I go back to showing this, I'll just show you what you can recruit in every province. So you've got your peasants and you've got your Jade Warrior types. Cathay is very organized. You can get them wherever it wants. Let me just throw the province events on that so we can see a Bastion event go off as well. It doesn't have a Bastion at the moment. If I end the turn, maybe it'll get one because it's at 40 PD. It's still got the chance of getting one. It should get one. It's just there's a bit of randomization in there. Joe Smith says, I think the Terracotta Sentinel being magic makes sense. It likely does. I could make the Terracotta Infantry and Horsemen magical. The problem with that is that you then can't lead them with your mundane commanders, and that's explicitly something they can do. They were created to follow the orders of the generals and things, as if they were normal humans. Unique heroes join, of course. So we get Jiaming, the Immortal Iron Dragon. He is extremely strong. Here he is. 4 earth, 1 water, 1 air, 3 fire. Priest level 3 because he is one of the immortal dragons that rules over the entirety of Cathay. He is a shape changer. He has the Glaive of the West, which is a very nasty glaive which does some extra fire damage as well. And he's got, decent magical armor built in. Not crazy his armor, but he's got high protection because he's got high natural protection and there's earth magic and everything. So anyway, he is a beast. He has very high hit points, and should he get wounded, or if he just feels like it, he can just turn into this scary dragon, who also has dragon fire, bite, claw, tail sweep. He is an Eastern dragon. He kicks ass. Very, very strong indeed. Fear, affliction resistance, recuperation, all the good stuff that you would want. Oh, I think he has. Did he have reflection resistance because of his paths? I feel like that's true. So yeah, he's got a humanoid form where he's got all the slots, and then he's got a dragon form as well. And obviously very, very, very strong. All of the immortal dragons will be. They're going to get a bunch of them. But he is the only one they've got at the moment. What was I talking about? I was showing you the orders of warriors. So you've got the Carp Warrior, you've got the Crane Warrior, can only be recruited in Highlands and Mountain Forts. So this is the air aspect one. We just looked at the water aspect one. The Crane Warriors have built-in air shield, 70, so good air shield. They have longbows with air shields, already very nice. They don't require a huge number of resources to build. They're 15 gold, and they've got patrol bonus. And they've got the Cathay longsword, which is a very nice weapon. So their protection is not particularly good, but other things about the unit are good. So low protection, but good stats, nice weapon, air shield, longbow, patrol bonus, nice. Tiger Warriors you can only get in forest forts. They are the fire-aligned troop. They have forest survival, they have fire resistance 5, which is very nice to be using with your various fire things, your fireworks, your rockets, and your sky lantern torches, and of course your fire elementals. And your terracotta guys breathing dragon fire everywhere, so a lot of stuff they work with. Patrol bonus 1 like the others, and they're using red hot falchions. Red hot falchions are the same as regular falchions, except they've got some added better stats, and on a hit they do lesser fire, which is 6 points of fire damage. My making a mistake with these guys? Oh, I see what's happened. Yes, they shouldn't have such high attack. I think that's a mistake. I've given them too much attack bonus, but they don't have ambidextrous. So they should have, I think, 13 attack, not 12. I think that's right. Anyway, I need to give them ambidextrous. I've obviously forgotten on this unit to give them ambidextrous, but they will have it. They've got medium protection. Obviously, they're good at chopping up lots of smaller targets, but they do decent damage. And they've got nice stats because of their weapons, and they've just got nice stats on their own. They're more attacking than the others. They cost a bit more, 16 gold, 20 resources. But yeah, pretty nice. I think all of these order troops, including the tortoise, I'll put them all to recruitment limit 5 or something like that, or maybe I'll increase their recruitment costs so that you do have some, but they're not like a very common thing that you get. You can just build up groups of them over time. I don't know, something like that maybe. Either that or recruitment costs, or I could just see what people think of them and wait for some feedback. Joe Smith asks, is the immortal dragon immortal? Well, no, they're not in the sense that if they get killed in combat, they don't come back. They don't have that kind of immortality. They're immortal in the sense that no one has ever managed to kill them and they live forever. That's the sense in which they're immortal. As far as I can tell from the kind of Cathay lore, that is what is meant by immortality. It's the living forever part. It's not the if somebody kills you, you come back to life part. Yeah, so let me go and put ambidexterity on the Tiger Warrior. And also fix his sword, because I think it's a bit too good. Ambidextrous. Well, ambidextrous we're giving them. I'll just give them an arbitrarily high value, it doesn't really matter. I'll just give them ambidextrous 3, that's fine. Oh, for the War Dancer, I've given it 4, so I'm just going to give them 4. They're similar to the War Dancer. And then their sword, the Red Hot Falchion, is... Stats are too good. I don't know why I've given it attack 2. I'm going to give it just... So what does the normal Falchion have? Is it 0/0? Let me go and look in Mod Inspector. I think the normal one's just 0/0, isn't it? Yeah. It's 0 attack, 0 defense, 8 damage, whereas the broadsword is 6 damage. Yeah, and then +1 attack, +1 defense. So the Red Hot Falchion is supposed to just be a falchion. So I'm going to move that to attack 0, defense 0. It's just a falchion that they have heated up using their breathing technique. And it's not a magic weapon. So it's just going to have 0/0. So that's worse, but they're going to have ambidexterity. So what will happen is the overall change to them is that their defense will drop by 1 from what you're seeing there, but their attack will still be 12. So they'll still be good units. And if you buff up their strength, they'll be real blenders, real choppers. Of course, you can very easily buff up people's strength because you have access to earth magic from your earth elementalists, even with extra range. Very exciting stuff. I'm really happy with how the sprites turned out for these guys. We've got some cool stuff. We've got this kind of traditional, I guess, Taoist style abbot, monk abbot. We've got these fun martial arts monks. Let me show their attack sprites. If I just go and attack something, do you have many monks? Somebody's got some monks, haven't they? Not you. Who's got monks? Is it underground? Is it underground? Yes, it is. Let's just go and fight some cavemen. Stay out of the way of these monks. I want to see them fight. They've just got a nice attack sprite where they leap up on one leg, and I don't normally do nice attack sprites, but there's a couple of them in the Cathay sprites, so I'm kind of proud of those. Dr. Quacksalver asks, do they have special white shapes if you empower them in death? No, I never really do anything with the white shapes. I presume that because they're big monster guys, they turn into big monster whites. I guess that's what happens by default, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really in the business of making special sprites for all my guys in case you empower them in death and then cast a spell on them. I tend to leave Dominions to its own devices for that. Right, monks. Forward they go in their power stances. Don't run away, cavemen. It's time to fight. Let's see these nice attack sprites. Yeah, there we go. You can just imagine these guys out in front of their temple, just doing their drills. They're actually kind of crazy. Once they get some experience stars in particular, they really do just smash stuff with their staves. It's 19 damage. Defense skill 15. This is in the darkness, bear in mind, with -3. And these cavemen have no chance hitting them. This is absolute overkill using that many monks. The Celestial Guard are pretty scary too. This one's all mangled, so he doesn't really count. If I got one that doesn't have bad wounds, yeah. So this is one with 2 experience stars, in the dark, of course, but starting off with 12 attack skill, decent equipment, Cathay and Longsword, that then gives them an extra 2 attack. I mean, even in the dark, 13 attack, 17 damage. Very, very scary. That's some events. Oh, so Kareen, we now have a Cathayan Bastion. So it had Province Defense 40, and it still took a couple of turns for it to get it because there's a dice roll involved. But yeah, the fort's constructed, the Province Defense is highly organized, so it gets a Bastion. Each turn it will generate 2 Terracotta Pikemen, 2 Terracotta Swordsmen, and 1 Terracotta Horseman if it's not under siege. If it is under siege, you don't get those automatically generated. So if we look here, this turn nothing, next turn the world. Well, next turn 4 Terracotta Infantry, 1 Terracotta Horseman. Global events. Oh, look at that! Slanesh attacking us all over the place. Anyway, for now, I just wanted to show that Kareen, because as Sebastian, gets this. So every turn, getting this many guys, how many gems would we say that's worth? That's like 3 or 4 fire gems worth, right? It's got to be. Pretty decent. Did Slaanesh attack us anywhere interesting? No, it's just province defense, right? We don't get to see any interesting fights particularly. Oh, they brought some demonettes on that one. That's cool. So I think that is it for my stream this evening, unless any other questions pop up in the chat. I just wanted to show a quick kind of sneak peek of Cathay. I think they're fun. They play a bit like TNG. Surprise, surprise. You know, their sprites are not that dissimilar from TNG. It's a very similar thing. Look at all the stuff we got for free from our Bastion and Cathay. But yeah, I hope they're fun. I'll add more stuff to them. They've only got one national hero at the moment. I've already sprited up another national hero. I just didn't finish adding it, and that probably won't go in the next version. But the one after that, they'll have that, and maybe they'll have some other national heroes. They basically just need a bunch of these immortal dragons. Oh, there's a death match. Hold on. We've got to do that then, haven't we? Go to the death match. Right, what do we got? Spells wise. I've not really been researching anything sensible, I think. Yeah, I've got some enchantment though. Let's do Flying Shield. Anything else we would want to have? He'd want to bless himself. And then attack closest. I mean, I think that's going to do the trick. So let's send him to the deathmatch and we'll just see how jamming does in the deathmatch. Arena battles. Oh, we've got some famous guys. We've got a Slaughter Priest against Fator the Tainted. What's his affliction? Feeble-minded. Oh, it's a People's Deathmatch. Oh no, doesn't get to use his magic. I didn't even check. I'm gonna say Fator's gonna win this one. Pretty easy. Whoa. What? Bit of a drive-by there. What was that about? Well, Fator wins that one. Then we've got a State Captain, who's a prophet, against a Dreadlord. The Dreadlord's going to win that one then. That's straightforward. I don't think a State Captain stands a chance against a Dreadlord. He's taken a while to die, but he is dead. He gets his head bitten off. Then we've got a True Strigoi. Pretty scary. Against Carl I'm going to say Carl Franz is going to win that then. A True Strigoi is nasty, but Carl Franz has got the Rune Fang. You got to think he's just going to chop him in a couple of turns. Oof, he took a hit. Yeah, he hit the Griffin, didn't he? Yeah. But yeah, he just whacked it. Square in the brain. Oh no, in the body. Stabbed him in the body. That's interesting. Only 14 points of damage to kill him. Was he already wounded or something? What happened there? Let me rewatch that one. No. Oh, the Griffin must have hit him. Of course. The Griffin did most of the damage. Carl Franz's second fight is against Fator. So Carl Franz is taking on some really tough stuff here. I'm going to say Carl Franz will win this one. Fator's pretty nasty. He could kill Carl Franz if he gets hit. He hits the Griffin. No, he hits the Emperor. Carl Franz himself. Oh no, sorry, it's the Griffin. Gets hit bad. Fator's hit, but not hard. We could be looking at a Fator win here. Ooh, the Griffin is cut out from under him, but he is hurt. Keep clicking on feeble-minded, silly. 26 hit points left. Carl Franz is hurt as well. He has fallen from his mount. He could still win this. He hits him again. He's hit back in return. He is routed. Carl Franz falls. Sorry, Carl Franz. So Fator very badly hurt, but he is winning. Dreadlord against Prince of Tyrannok. That is a difficult one to call. Is he going to be able to trample him? Size 6, size 5. I think the Dreadlord will win this, but it will be close. He's getting trampled. He gets slashed. I can never resist the. I mean, he's done now, right? Oh no, because he kills the horse. Ho ho ho! What a fight! So we got Prince of Tyrannok and his chariot crew against the Dreadlord. That's cheating, surely, to bring a crew member into the deathmatch. The Dreadlord could still win this. Nope. So Prince of Tyrannok wins that, and then we get my boy in here. Here he is. So I didn't realise this was a people's deathmatch, so I've been stupid giving him commands to cast spells. He's not doing that. He's against an aspiring champion. You've got to fancy that he's better than an aspiring champion. Slash kills him. Bit of a subtle attack sprite I've given that guy, but there's only so many things I can do with that particular pose. He's against the Prince of Tyrannok. He has lost his crew member now. He has left. That was good. So this should be an easy win for us too. We're getting the easy matchups. We'd have to fight friggin' Carl Franz or Fator the Tainted. We have to fight a guy who's lost his horsey. A Chaos Dwarf. Yeah, look at this. Infernal Death. We're getting all the easy matchups. Infernal Death Mask is not, in the world of death matches, he's nothing scary. He's scary in the sense that he's got 24 protection and hits hard and has decent stats, but he's no immortal dragon. Oh, but he does hit me. Gets a hit in and gets killed. And then we're fighting Fator. So I think Fator's got really good stats. He is very scary. He hits very hard. He's very accurate, but he has no health left whatsoever. The question is, does he smash us with Nordland's Ruin before we get to stab him with the Glaive of the West? I think he's the better statted fighter, but it's very close. He lands a hell of a hit, causing disease. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. That's what you get for trying to fight an immortal dragon. You smack him in the head with a polearm and he goes, well, if you're going to get serious, it just turns into a dragon and breathes fire on you and kills you. Perfect. Congratulations, charming the immortal Iron Dragon. There we go. What did I get? The Champion's Medal. I mean, pretty good. Pretty good. Can you change back? Are you going to die? Yeah, it would be fatal if he changed back, so he's not allowed to. He has to heal first. So he's all messed up, but he has recuperation, and also we have disease healers. So I mean, if I chuck a couple of them on there and wait a turn, is he going to fix his disease? I think he is. I got very distracted by that arena deathmatch I was going to go. But They're such good fun. And we got a really cool ending to the video there. Just turning into a dragon and breathing fire everywhere. Cured from his disease. He's fine. He's crippled, but he will eventually heal from that because of his recuperation. Also, he can change shape. Oh, it's a nice item. The Champion's Medal. It really is. Quickness and luck. Look at that leadership. Do I get ore because I've got so much leadership? No, I don't. But I do have ridiculous levels. Look, if he's leading troops, let's just have a look at how much morale they would get. Give him some peasants. +5. Good lord. Well, there you have it. That is Cathay. That is your sneak peek. Any more questions in the chat? Just people saying thank you. Parry this, you filthy casual. Turn himself into a dragon and spews fireballs all over you. Exactly, yeah. Oh, good hits. Let me respond in kind. Rawr. So yeah, I hope people are going to have some good fun with them. I think that having some more of these national heroes will be cool as well. They'll come in time. I'm not going to leave just one for too long. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Look out for the new version in the next few days. And bye for now.